Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Pegasus. This morning we're going to talk about the adult side of the astral and the adult side of OBE. This is probably one of the most fun sides of Astral and OBE. I combine them together because they're handled the same way and they're done basically the same way. And with both, you can wake up just like in the astral battleground. And just like if you do an OBE battle over something that needs to be handled, you can wake up with bumps, bruises, sore muscles, and feeling like you've really actually been in a fight or battle of some kind. The astral stroke OBE sexual environment is the same way. Have you ever had what you might call a wet dream to the point where you actually wake up with physical signs that you've had sex? Well, that being said, there's the disclaimer. This is a rated R video blog. This particular section has been saved till now because it is going to be talking pretty quick about some of the physical architectures of astral sex and relationships and OBE sex and relationships. Now, astral relationships, I've heard stories of people where they get married in the astral, yet they have spouses and families on this plane as well, and the two do not intermingle. I have been involved in and experienced with OBE sexual activities. Some people call it the sending of tantric, but in OBE it goes one step further. There's an actual projection of the consciousness to become physically active with another individual. There have been cases where I myself have woken up with signs of sexual activity. Now I'm talking about smells, how do I clean this up? Wetness or moisture in areas with certain smells in areas, to show that you've actually had some form of sexual activity. Physical signs that this has actually happened. It's rare. I've only had it a couple of 3 or 4 times over the last 10 or 15 years. But it does happen. It is possible. And again, it does happen. So, what's the difference between a sexual fantasy and sexual or tantric OBE or astral? A sexual fantasy is a thought or a picture show that you put in your mind. That's basically a dream. A sexual fantasy is just that. It is a dream. An OBE is consciously done. It is consciously done with another individual or group of individuals that are consenting within the same basic thing. Same way with astral sex. It is done with consenting individuals in the astral where everybody pretty much knows what's going on. Now, in the astral you can have relationships with people you've never met before, that you do not know on this plane. That's actually usually better. You can also have OBE interactions with people you've met over the internet. One of the best forms of OBE sexuality is either phone sex or cam sex, webcam, also known as cyber, for lack of a corny term. Because you're actually seeing the other individual and connecting with them on a spiritual level. You're sending your consciousness to them to experience a metaphysical stroke physical form of enjoyment. Now the same rules apply in sexual OBE and sexual astral that apply on this plane. Respect. I'm not into pain, though there are those who are, and that's perfectly fine. But before you get into any kind of BDSM in the astral in OBE, make absolutely certain that your partner's ready for it. Because if you happen to scare the hell out of somebody that's not ready for BDSM, then you can not only lose a good friend, but really screw up a very happy event. So, if you want to practice tantric OBE or sexual OBE, get a partner that you're comfortable with, that understands your path and understands who and what you are, and that would not mind experiencing this. I don't recommend that you pop out on the internet and find the closest Jane Doe or Joe Blow you can find and go, hey, want to have OBE sex? They'll probably delete and ban you. Respect, respect, respect. I can't say that enough. Respect people's privacy. And be sure that when you're having a sexual fantasy that it doesn't slip into an OBE. Sexual fantasies are very easily slipped into OBE. Now, if you're having phone tantric or phone sex with someone, they're already aware that your consciousness is going to be there. It'll just simply enhance the action, enhance the activity, if you will. Astral sex is much the same way. Every piece of you is going to be involved in that. Now let's enter the taboos. The conscious, the subconscious guilt. Sociological programming dating back over 3,000 years has programmed human beings. They're not allowed to enjoy sex. They're not allowed to have sex. And if you, what is it they say? To lust is to sin. Beep, foul, nod. To lust is to be human. To act on that lust is determines honor or dishonor. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. How you act on your sexual feelings is between you and your deity, not between you and other humans. Unless, of course, you rape someone or dishonor someone, then you get to deal with that karma as well. But my point is this: if you have an astral lover, if you have multiple astral lovers, do not allow that to affect this plane, because it really has nothing to do with it. The astral does not have to affect this plane, though it can, and in many cases does. Same way with OBE. OBE is a little more important because you're physically, psychologically, and emotionally communicating with other individuals. Remember that. OBE can have a much greater effect on this plane as far as guilt, relationships, and how you and your mate perceive sexual activities outside of the relationship. That has to be agreed upon by you and your mate. Now, a lot of times there are many relationships where the mates just don't get it. You'll have a pagan and a Christian that are together. And the Christian, and that's fine, they have their views. To lust is to sin. A pagan has their views. To lust is to be human. To act on that lust depends on how far you're willing to go with particular said activities. That is something you need to think about. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that you need to tell your mate everything you do. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that you don't need to tell your mate everything that you do. That is between you and them. That's not me to tell. Nor is it me to judge. So when you're enjoying your sexuality, and I hope you do, unfortunately millions of people in this world do not today because of their social programming. But when you're enjoying your sexuality, embrace that. Enjoy that sexuality. Continue on with it and continue in your sexual growth. Always remember, honor comes first. Communication comes first. Acceptance of other people, what they want, what they need, and what they're doing comes first. So when you're studying this and playing with it and doing this, that, and the other thing, find someone that trusts you, find someone that you trust, work with them, have fun with it, play with it. But when you start stepping outside of your normal daily realm with others, be sure they're aware of who and what you are, and be sure they're aware of what's going to be going on. Keep this in mind, and with a total close of Astral and OBE, I have really enjoyed doing these series. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. I look forward to your questions, because if you think about it, I'm sure there are many. Any questions you have on OBE or Astral, either drop me an email or leave them in the slots below, and they'll send me an email as to such. I hope to hear from you soon. Enjoy the rest of our chapters as they move along, and have a great day.